Construction scope of work, ACE Construction, Texas. A construction project needs a well-defined scope of work to make sure the job is completed as expected and is an important part of all work at ACE Construction, Texas. The construction scope of work is like an instruction book that guides the project owner and construction contractors through the project. All the project requirements, plans and specs, list of obligations, terms for variations, deliverables, are clearly defined in the scope of work. This tells everyone involved exactly what work must be performed to complete the project so that the owner is satisfied, and all contractors can get paid. The importance of the scope of work can't be understated as it affects every organization and person working on a construction project. Clear scope of work required. Clear communication between all parties is vital on any construction project. Any breakdown in communication creates issues that can become larger problems. Unresolved problems can jeopardize the quality of a project and possibly compromise its completion. A clear scope of work is required to prevent breakdowns in communication. All projects have simple goals: get the job done and get it done on time. All work along the way supports these simple goals. Whether the job is completing a campus of multi-story buildings with intricate infrastructure or setting up a tool shed on a construction site, the goals are always to finish the work fully and on time. Having a well-defined scope of work in hand helps everyone at all stages of the construction process to know exactly what is expected so they can plan their specific work process and complete all obligations. This always makes the project easier to navigate and improves the overall process and quality of the project. Quality construction agreement. The scope of work is essentially a contractual agreement between everyone involved in a project from the owner down to all contractors and subcontractors. It defines all work and expectations. Everyone involved with the scope of work should make sure all details are covered and be confident they can perform all work required. Failure to follow the scope of work can cause problems for the project and cause payment for work to be withheld. The scope of work can be included in the overall project contract and it can also be subdivided from the overall contract. For example, a project with different types of buildings may be subcontracted with several contractors. Each contractor may have a separate scope of work that aligns with the overall contract for each of the different buildings. Each of these contractors might subcontract a specific part of the work, such as drywall, with a separate work order. Each subcontracted or separate piece of work has its own scope of work. It can be as simple as a purchase order for supplies that falls under the overall project scope of work. This may seem complicated, but it is a simple process. The overall scope of work is always supported by any subcontracting scopes of work in any form. All these elements work together to complete the final, overall project. The scope of work is the guideline to prevent issues that may add time and money to the project or create communication problems and tension between everyone involved.